This is Tim from Uniform, and in this video we will discuss component patterns. Components in Uniform are highly flexible. All their properties are easy to change, and some of those are stylistic and some of them are more data driven. So when we have a look at this hero component here, you can actually say, let's do the image to the left, or change my copy a little bit. And so due to this flexibility, you can actually go highly, deeply technical very fast, because I could connect the title to a CMS A and the description to CMS B if I wanted to. And so to make things a lot easier for your content editors, we actually introduced component patterns. And in these patterns, you can say, this is the setup of this component connected to this CMS, and you are allowed to change these few styles. And of course, what the content item in the CMS is. And that makes things a lot easier. So let's actually do that. So this is our component here. Let's hit save because I just set it up. And then we go to, let's edit this definition. So there's all the fields of the component that you can use, right? Let's go and add a pattern of a combination of these fields that makes it easier to use for content editors. Let's do a contentful connection. So here now I can actually start having a look at what do I want my pattern to be. You know what? I want my image on the right. I don't need a text above my title, but my title itself needs to come from a CMS. Well, I've already set up a data type to contentful CTAs, content types. If you want to know how data types work, there's another video in this series that explains it all. So now I'm just going to select, let's say, this item. And so we need to find the title in that item. So you just go and there's the result of the API of Contentful. And you can select whatever you want here. So you can imagine if you're a content editor and you have to do this from scratch and you're not technical, you don't even know what an API output is or a REST API. This is quite challenging. So when you create a pattern, you can do this for the content editor. And they can kind of just choose a curated list and then change the things that they need. So let's also grab the image here. And so now a few fields are dynamic, others I haven't touched yet. So now you can go into Overwrite and say, these are the things you can change as content editors and a few things I don't want you to touch, like the title or the description, because it's dynamic. So I want the variant overrides, like image right, image left. And I also want to be able to add an eyebrow text, and let's keep it at this for now. And so all these properties are just from the Uniform Component Starter Kit. If you build your own components, you can use all your own properties. This is completely agnostic and completely free to use in any way you like. All right, so let's go back to our homepage and add our new component that we just created. Because when you create a component pattern, it becomes a new entity. So this is our initial hero, and now let's add our new one. There it is, the hero for Contentful. And you can see it's already connected to that item that I selected in there. And so based on our overrides, you can actually say, well, we gave an override ability for the content. So you can actually hit replace and say, you know what, I actually wanted this one. And now this has become another item in Contentful, and the same fields are dynamic, right? You cannot edit these now, but certain things we can edit because the override for the variant is still there. So let's make it image left. There's also an override for the eyebrow text, which you can now edit, and because it's in Uniform, you can actually edit that inline, which makes that really, really special. But specialty features comes from a dynamic item, so it's not changeable. And in this way, you can kind of help content editors with a curated experience without going too deep into the tech. But if they wanted to, they can. Now, how about we add yet another hero pattern out of a list of latest blog posts, because sometimes you might want a hero to highlight a blog post, for example. So let's go back to our component definition and just add another pattern that uses a combination of all these fields to show a latest blog post. So we can just make another pattern. And so now let's connect this title, for example, to my own articles. And so currently, this is giving me a list, so I can kind of choose. So let's grab this one and select the title here. And let's grab, it's the same description. And let's grab the image. And how about for the eyebrow text, we now connect it to, let's say, the date. And you see, there's all these things now, but we do want a certain amount of override. So let's allow the variation to be overridden, but not the content for this one. Just because I want to show you the different options. Okay, we're good. We're just changing the variation as content editors. All right, so let's go back to our homepage and now add our new component. Because this, again, this is actually a pattern of a hero, but we're actually making that a new entity. So now we can see there's our blog hero pattern. And there it is. So actually, how about we set it to background image? There it is. And so the interesting bit here is that not all content could always completely fit your design system. Like in this case, the title is white and the image is a little light. So if you give the option to do something like this, or whatever you want, or default, that makes things really flexible, and you can, really work well in parallel with this, because you can start content editing, you can adopt your component, and it just all works. So this is what I wanted to show you about component patterns. And if you now start to combine from our other videos, the data types, the loops, the component patterns, this is essentially the new way of content editing, by being agnostic from all your external tools, really having control over your design system and do it in a visual way. Cheers, speak soon.